Sir Francis Galton by Haley Schaefer. He was born in 1822 in Birmingham, England, and died in 1911. He was sent to boarding school at the age of 8, and while there he was often flogged. He ended up getting scarlet fever, had a lot of stern talkings from his teachers, and often got into a lot of fights with his peers. He studied medicine at the Birmingham General Hospital. He received a degree from Cambridge University in 1843, and he was independently wealthy, which gave him the option to choose when and where he worked, and that led him to travel to Scandinavia, Egypt, Sudan, and the Middle East. At the age of 30, he joined the Royal Geographical Society, where he created a map of the unexplored territories of what it is now called Namibia during the 2 years he was there. For this, he was gifted the highest medal from the society in 1853. He also wrote 2 books about travel: The Narrative of the Explorer in Tropical South Africa. This book led him to become recognized as a very highly skilled adventurer, and was even contacted by the British government to teach their soldiers about camping procedures. In 1855, he published his second book, called The Art of Travel, which explained how to handle wild animals and hostile natives. He invented the weather map and also suggested how to use fingerprints as identification, which was then later used by the Scotland Yard. He also wrote The Hereditary Genius, an inquiry into its laws and consequences. He believed that intelligence is heritable, and meaning that the children of scholars were bound to be just as intelligent as their parents. He ended up doing research involving a lot of intelligent people that he came across, and even included wrestlers into that experiment, which he wrote all in this book. He thought of selective breeding, which he later called eugenics, and this was then later adopted by the American psychologists. He also wrote The English Men of Science, Their Nature and Nurture, and this led to the highly debated nature versus nurture debate that is still existing today. He wrote Inquiries into Human Facility and its Development. In this, he used twins as his subjects for the study, and this was later adopted by a lot of different scientists and is still very much used today. He also founded the first word association test. For this experiment, he used 75 words written on different pieces of paper and then wrote how he was feeling about each of these words on a separate piece of paper. From this experiment, he found 3 things of great importance. The first being the response to the stimulus would remain constant. Most of his responses occurred and came from all of his combined childhood experiences, and that this experiment showed a new aspect of the mind, how consciousness had a major role in the impressions. He was also one of the first, if not the first, to look at and into mental imagery. He found that most of the people he looked at and studied had the ability to imagine something, however some did not, and he found that very surprising. One of his most well-known contributions to psychology is his concept of correlation, and this is still today is one of the most used statistical methods, and this also led him into introducing the median and mean into statistics. And here are some fun facts. He was Charles Darwin's cousin. At the age of 7, he was reading Shakespeare for fun. I have no clue why he would do that. That sounds brutal. He attempted to measure quite a number of different ridiculous things, 3 of which being which country had the most beautiful women, how to measure boredom at scientific lectures, and how to determine the effectiveness of prayers, which he found to be extremely ineffective.